In this video, we explain the role of a web server in serving up web pages in text form and understand the role of a web browser. Web servers carry out many functions, but by far the most common are hosting websites and dealing with client requests, such as HTTP GET requests for a page or resource. The web page, stored as a mixture of HTML, CSS and JavaScript, is sent to a browser which then uses certain rules to render it correctly for the user. So let's look at the process. Step 1, the user requests a URL via their web browser, for example, craigandDave.org. The browser extracts the fully qualified domain name and sends it to a DNS server. The DNS server maps the fully qualified domain name to an IP address and returns it to the browser. A GET request for the web resource is specified in the URL and the request is sent to the web server. The files return to the web browser. The browser renders its contents according to the HTML rules. And if the files being rendered contained other URLs, graphics, the browser issues additional GET requests to obtain these resources from the server. The main purpose of web browsers is to render hypertext markup language HTML and display web pages. On the left is the written HTML code that makes up a simple web page. On the right is how the user sees the web page when the HTML is rendered by a web browser. Web browsers carry out many functions. We can store bookmarks for our favourites, record the history of where you visited, allow for multiple pages to be visited at once, store cookies, provide navigation tools, and obviously provide an address bar. So let's have a look at some of these features. All web browsers allow you to bookmark favourites. That's different web pages that you want to be able to return to quickly. They can typically be organised in folders, managed, and added to a toolbar. To further aid navigation, most browsers maintain a history of visited sites. A history allows you to easily navigate back to a site you've already been to, even if you've forgotten the URL and haven't bookmarked it. Web browsers support multiple tabs at the same time. This allows the user to have different sites and pages open and easily switch between them. A web browser supports the storing of cookies. A cookie is a small text file with ID tags that's stored in your computer. Cookies are created when you use your browser to visit a website, and they're typically used to track your movements on the website and can help by remembering things such as your shopping basket, your login credentials, any themes you've selected, or other site preferences. Cookies can also be used to customize your experience in other ways. Web browsers also provide a range of navigation tools. The most common are going back to the last page you visited, returning forwards to a page you've navigated backwards from, returning to a predefined or fixed homepage, and refreshing the web page you're looking at to make sure you've got the latest version. Of course, web browsers also provide an address bar, and this bar contains the URL of the page you're currently viewing. Having watched this video, you should be able to answer the following key questions. What's the purpose of a web server? And what's the purpose of a web browser?